Okay, here we are. We're back. I'm not going to the PowerPoint, okay, because that's messing us up. So you guys know what's covered, or we have 5 quizzes, and that's another activity we'll do in class. Do not do your quizzes before class, because if you get a 2 on it, I can't change that. I can't reset it for you. I can't. So wait, we're going to do the quizzes together in class. Okay. So like next week we have a quiz. Week 3 we have a quiz. I think it's, we'll see when we get to the modules. But so you've got your 5 quizzes, your 3 exams, and your HESI, and then you have your homework. What happens if you don't have a 78% after you take your HESI with all the KGAs? What happens?
Homework not included.
Okay. What happens if this class, you should not be a homework fail. Okay, everybody knows what a homework fail is, right? You ended up with like an 80%, and then your homework kicks in and it drops you to a 76, and you fail the class. There's not that much in this class that for you to be a homework fail. It's just not. This class is about keeping up. That's it. Keeping up, spending a little bit of time each week with community, getting your work done, reviewing the announcement I sent on Sunday. Okay. So I'm going to go to our syllabus. Where's our syllabus? Okay, I'm getting out of that stupid thing. Oh God, I have that message again. All right, where am I? We are in Friday's class. Okay, everybody see the module?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm starting to sweat. Okay, let me just tell you, because it's good. Modules. I like to try week 1. What do we have due this week? Discussion question, right? What do we have? Okay, what do we have due? Has anybody looked ahead? What do we have due next week? Your second discussion question. Okay, so you have a Wednesday due. Let me tell you about some big assignments. Okay, there's one group assignment. Okay, and it's due in week 7. And it's called an infectious disease assignment. In the next week or so, I'm in no rush to get your groups out. I need to get the RN groups out because they have a couple. They have one due in week 3. Yours isn't due till week 7. So you'd be working in a group. I'll assign you groups, and I'm going to assign you an infectious disease. If you go to week 7, you can see what the rubric is, what the assignment is all about. Okay, so I want you to have a look at week 7. Okay. One of the things I attached in your week 1 announcement, it was called the HESI prep assignment. Did y'all see that? I don't know if Professor Kershaw did, but she needs to if she didn't. You need to have that in week 1. Okay.
She added it.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you, Kiana. It is in week 9, the instructions for it, because that's when it's due. And it has a link to download the form. Ignore that form. Ignore the week 9 form. The updated HESI prep is what we sent you in week 1. Yep.
Can you send me that?
It should be in it's in your announcements.
Not in my week 1.
Kiana, where'd you find it? You're in Professor Kershaw's class. Where'd you find it?
Hang on, let me.
She put it in the announcement.
You're in my class. Cheyenne, you're in my class. It's in the week 1 announcement. At the bottom, you had all the attachments. One of them was the HESI prep assignment. Please, if you're going to print anything out, print that out. Okay, so that's another activity we're going to do every week. We're going to complete that. This is a 5% assignment that is due in week 9. If you don't print it out this week, you're not going to remember that it even exists. And eventually you're going to go to week 9 and print out that document. The week 9 document is the old version. So what I have done is gone through previous HESIs in the last 2 or 3 terms, previous HESIs, and identified the topics they ask about. Okay, so I don't know the questions that are on HESI. It's done like NCLEX. It comes from a bank, but at least I know the topics they're asking about. So that is what that HESI form is. Okay. And that to me is an assignment that I think we should be working on every week or every 2 weeks, because those are all the topics we're going to cover in class through the term. And each week we should go through together as a group and complete those boxes so that when week 9 comes up, all you do is hit submit. And if you're not keeping up with it, you're going to have a long assignment in week 9, right?
I'm sorry, you said it's in the announcements. It's on the first one or the one that says week 1 information?
Who's found it and what is the, I'm not even moving off my screen right now. So tell me what's the topic of the announcement? What's in the title? It should say week 1 announcement, information, orientation. William, I can't hear you. You're trying to talk.
I don't know.
There you
Says
go.
it's introduction of concepts in community-based nursing orientation. You just have to scroll down.
Yeah, go all the way down, and I think I put a line under my name to separate the information versus the announcement attachments. The first attachment I think was my content recording. The second attachment was that HESI prep. Okay, everybody find it, see it, print that out. Okay, so that's due in week 9. Your group assignment is due in week 7. I'm going through the big ones. You have got 3 exams. They're in weeks 4, 7, and 10. Okay, so we'll be doing our review sessions in weeks 3, 6, and 9. And we're working on a master schedule right now to send out to you guys. So you'll have all the reviews for the whole term. Okay, so you can plan accordingly to try and attend. Okay. What else? Reviews. Oh, now here's where it gets busy. Week 9, you've got your HESI prep. Week 10, which is an exam week, you have your vulnerable populations assignment, which you can go into week 10 and look at it. This is kind of the big project for the term. You're going to be picking a vulnerable population in your community and doing a PowerPoint research project about that vulnerable population. So my point is, once you get to week 9, weeks 9, 10, and 11 are extremely busy. Between weeks 9 and 10, you have 10% of your homework grade due, right? Week 9, 5% with the HESI prep, 5% with the vulnerable populations. Okay, those are the major 2 assignments. HESI prep, vulnerable populations, and you'll do your group project. Everything else is a couple of discussion questions, 4 NCLEX assignments, and a couple of case studies. That's it. That's it. You only have 2 discussion questions, and they're this week and next week, and then there's no more discussion questions. And let me say something about NCLEX. If you turn me in an NCLEX assignment that's below a 40, I'm going to send it back to you with a comment and say, hey, I've reopened this assignment for you if you'd like to redo it for a higher grade. I'm a big believer in rationales. Okay, anywhere you can find rationales to learn from is excellent, excellent learning. So your NCLEX questions, any case studies, right? So when you do your NCLEX assignment, you can only submit it once, but you can do the assignment as many times as you want. So if you do an NCLEX assignment and it ends up with like a 20, go back and review all your rationales and retake it. And then get a 4. What?
The NCLEX is great about how many you got right instead of the percentage they give you.
Well, you do 50 questions, and if you get 50 right, you get a 50. If you get 49 right, you get a 49. But if you submit me a low score, I'm going to give you the opportunity, try not to submit me a low score. If you get a low score, study your rationales and redo it. Okay, and then submit me a high score. It's all, I mean, we're not giving you 4 sets of NCLEX questions to give you more work. We're giving NCLEX questions because you need practice. right? You guys need practice because you're going to be taking the NCLEX. So please take the NCLEX assignments seriously. Okay.
Are we-
Please look at rationales of wrong questions. Retake it.
Are we submitting you the rationales to the wrong questions, or are we just
No,
okay?
you just keep doing the assignment. No, the rationales are for your learning.
Okay.
You're submitting me the PDF whenever you submit your final. You know,
Okay.
you can do an NCLEX question assignment 10 times and just submit your highest grade. Okay. So NCLEX really important. It's not busy work. It's practice for taking the NCLEX. And then in your student resources for all these 3 books, I know you know this because you're at the end of your program. You have all those resources of practice questions for NCLEX, right?
Yes.
You guys should be doing those out of whatever, set a goal, 10 per book per week. I don't know, 20 per book per week. The more practice you can get at taking these questions or going through these questions, the better you're going to be. I mean, NCLEX is hard. And now we have the next gen focus. The more practice you can do, the better you're going to be. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to cover? So the modules. So there's a couple of big assignments. Unfortunately, they're both due at the end of the term. So if you want to get working on them, get working on them. I mean, as far as working ahead, be careful because you have to have 2 submissions every week, right? One is attendance and the other is an assignment. Most weeks have more than 2 submissions, but there are a few weeks that only have like attendance, a class, and an NCLEX. So if you've already submitted the NCLEX, you're only going to have one submission that week, and you need 2. So my suggestion, if people work ahead, it's not encouraged. But if, like, say you work ahead on your NCLEX, that's fine. Just don't submit it until the week it's due. Make sense?
Yes.
Hold off on submitting things till the week they're due. If you're working ahead, just hold them. And then the other thing is, you got to start all your assignments through your module. For your NCLEX, you can't go to www.evolve.com. You have to go through the links in your module for your case studies, for your NCLEX. Otherwise, it's going to be all messed up. And we can't accept screenshots. So just start and submit all your assignments through the modules. And then the other thing is your student resources. You have so many student resources in your shell. I can't believe it. I mean, I use the student resources. I love going to the student resources and learning stuff through there as well. So anyway, that's a summary of the class. It's manageable, you guys. I promise you, it's manageable. A discussion question, NCLEX set, a case study, and then you've got a few added assignments. The amount of work equals the 2 credits. It gets overwhelming when you fall behind. As far as exams go, you're going to get a study guide. The first exam is in week 4. It's going to be weeks 1 through 3. You'll have a study guide by the end of the weekend. I just need to make a few changes on it, a few updates on it, and then follow along. You'll see everything by the end of week 3. Everything on that study guide should be familiar to you, meaning we've gone through it. It's part of your content you're responsible for. All right. So the study guide is an excellent tool, but it's not the only tool. But I always ask students to start with the study guide. Go through on the study guide, check off, I understand that. I have a good understanding of that concept, or not sure. I need to go back to the book and read that section. I'm not quite sure about that. Right? And then after you've done your due diligence and gone through your study guide, make sure you understand it, gone back to the book to use as a resource. Then if there's still concepts you're not understanding, get in touch with me. Let's set up a Zoom and do a tutoring on what you're not understanding. I don't use tutoring to review class material that you missed in class. It's not what I use tutoring for. I use tutoring to help you with what you're not understanding. And I expect you to do your due diligence first. And like if a lot of students will say, hey, can we meet the day before the exam? I want to go through the study guide. They have it all marked up and they say, there's 2 areas of the study guide I just don't understand. Can we go through that? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't use hour-long tutoring sessions to review everything in class if you missed it or didn't listen to the content recording. But I'll help you guys in any way I can. But you guys got to do your part too. Okay? I think you'll enjoy this class. It's kind of neat pulling everything together. Like I said, you just go about your day in your community, not knowing all the things going on behind the scenes and how are things getting done with all these vulnerable populations. How is patient care getting done with all these patients that have been discharged from long-term care facilities, rehab facilities, hospitals? How's it all getting done? It's getting done. It's getting done. Right? Does anybody have any questions? Has this been helpful?
Yes.
Anybody? Well, Brittany, I'm going to
Yes.
single you out because Brittany, you told me at the beginning of the term that you did fine in the HESI, but didn't do well on the exams. Where's Brittany? I just moved you up 2 pages here. Brittany, I want you to contact me. I want to meet with you. We need to figure out what your strategy is, how we can change it up so that you do good in the exams. Okay? Don't blow off the exams. That's the other thing, you guys. You only have a few KGAs in this class. 5% in quizzes isn't worth that much. Okay? Don't blow off studying for the exams. Okay? If you've got a study guide, study it. Come prepared. I'm going to send you guys out. I think I sent you all some math resources, right? I have several little test-taking tutorials from Elsevier in my instructor toolbox that I'm going to send out to you guys. Critical thinking, how to break down questions. Brittany mentioned, yes, there are questions on the exams. What's the difference between a positively asked question and a negatively asked question? Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario. You are working with a family of a kid with asthma and they're going home. You're doing discharge teaching. What would be a positive question about that?
Are they excited to go home?
Okay,
Do they know how to use the inhaler?
correct. Positive question. What does the parent say that indicates they have an understanding of how to use the inhaler? Right? Positive question. Let's
Yeah.
take the same scenario
When
and
they
put it
can
in a
tell you
negatively
back
asked
how to take the
question.
medication?
What?
Is it when they tell you how to, like, basically when they can tell you how to prescribe the medication to the child?
Yeah, that would be one of the answers. What if that was the positive question? What did the parent demonstrate that they knew? What did the parent do that demonstrated they knew how to administer the medication? You're looking for an answer that says, explained how to use the inhaler, right? You're something positive the parent said, right? That you have then surmised that they know how to use it. The negative part of that question is, when doing discharge teaching with a parent of their child going home with asthma, what does the parent say that will require further education? So what did the parent say? Oh, I know I can use the inhaler every hour. So what are you looking for? Something the parent said that is wrong. They
Right.
need more education.
Ms. Marvel,
What?
with the positive and the negative, so is it safe to say like the positive is something that the nurse has to do and the negative is something that you're questioning, it's something that you have to answer? Okay.
So let's do another scenario. I'm trying to think of what's on my There's a scenario on one of my RN exams. You are mentoring a new nurse. Okay, you're working with a CNA, and the CNA is providing instructions on how to do ADLs at home for the elderly patient. What does the patient retell you that gives you confidence that the patient is understanding the teaching about ADLs going home?
If they demonstrate it back to you.
Exactly. Exactly. What's a negative? Negative is, what
Them
did the
doing it wrong.
patient retell you that is incorrect and will need to review with the patient again? Get it?
Yes.
There's a lot of negative questions on the PN exams. Okay, you have, and we do this in our reviews. You have, when I meet with students after exams, the majority of the issues was reading the question. Okay, if you can't pull out a phrase, what about, a lot of people miss, what's the first? What's the initial? What's the last? What's the greatest? What's the priority? Those are all important words that will lead you to the right answer. If you go over a question, if you read a question and all the answers look correct and it's not a select all that apply, then you miss something in the question. If everything looks right, and you're only selecting one answer. Maybe the question said, what is the priority? Then you go back and read and go, oh, okay, all the answers look right, but this one's a priority. I didn't really mean to be doing exam review kind of stuff here, but that's fine. Okay, so on your exams, you're going to have select all that apply. And it's okay to check select all that apply. Select all of them. Don't be afraid to. And these are in the tutorials I'm going to send you. Okay, how to eliminate answers right off the bat. One of my students 2 terms ago told me that she uses, because I always ask students in the reviews, okay, I've given you my tips. What do the rest of you do that might help each other out? A couple terms ago, a student said she uses the highlighter over on the right side. Is that right? On the right side of your exam. And once she eliminates a answer, she highlights it out. Okay, so when she goes back to review it, again, that's gone. Another one uses the highlighter for an important word or phrase in the question. Priority, first, last, greatest, least, initial. Okay. These exams are not hard. They're not. If you study the study guide, if you have a good understanding of the study guide, you are going to do fine on the exam. If you don't put forth in the effort of studying for the exams, you're not going to do well. It's that simple. Okay, so I'm trying to alleviate some stress. I realize this is a super busy term. This is not a hard class. I think it's kind of a cool class because you're pulling everything together. I'm a little biased, but so that's my week 1. What do you guys, feedback? I love feedback. Even if it's negative, I love feedback. You talk too fast, you talk too much, whatever. So I like feedback. I really would like to get feedback. I think I don't think Trent's in this class. But Trent in one of my other classes said, hey, I listened to your content recording and it was nice and clear and I could hear you. But in class the other day, I really couldn't hear you. Well, I had my earbuds in. And so apparently that made it less clear. So that was great feedback. So I don't have my earbuds in today. So I appreciate feedback. You guys got to keep me on my toes so I can be better as well. Okay, so if the content recordings are not giving you what you need, you got to let me know. And I'll revamp what I'm doing. Okay. If you don't feel like the activities that we're going to be doing in class upcoming are helpful, you got to let me know. Okay. So anyway, I'm here to support you however I can. I really love teaching this class. I know you guys hear nightmare stories about community. It's really not. It's not. It's good.
I
What?
think the class will be better now that you said it's not going to be much lecturing, because last term it was a lot of lecturing. You said we're going to do more activities like case studies and stuff.
Yep.
I think that will help everybody. It will be
Yep.
easier.
And we're putting together Kahoots. And we're going to try and do weekly Kahoots. So, yeah. My little FaceTime's going off over here on my phone. I have 2 little grandkids that live in London. So what time is it in London? 12:18. So they have no idea. They should. They're 7 and 4. They have no idea there's a time change. So they call me at all different times of the morning, the night. Like last night, midnight, my phone was buzzing with FaceTime. I said, oh my God, Harry's up. Because it was 7 in the morning for them. He's up going to school. So I need to learn how to do the do not disturb thing on my phone. Anyway, that's all I got. What do you think? You feel a little better?
I do. I just will say, you guys do offer encouragement as far as like offering tutoring, and I will say, y'all say this a lot to us, that people don't study, and sometimes people really do study as hard as they can,
right?
And that can be very discouraging to somebody that really studied as hard as they can and tell them they didn't study. So it's just a way of what you say to people. Like, I'm not saying you in particular, but I've heard it many a times from professors. Oh, you didn't study that. Everybody has a different learning style, and that just need to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely.
In class with everybody.
That is excellent feedback. Excellent. But yes, I will add to that, Kiana, that if you don't do well on for any exam or whatever score you got in any exam, if you get below a 78, you guys have to take advantage of getting with me to review your exam. That's what happens is and then when you come to review with me, then we figure out what happened. Did you not study enough? Did you not prepare enough? Did you do it the wrong way? Did whatever, you had a med surg test on the same day. We'll figure out what happened, but I can't figure out what happened unless we meet. Okay, so I don't mean, Kiana, you're right. I don't mean to make that a general statement, but a lot of students don't take advantage of reviewing exams after. I mean, even if you get in the 90s and you want to know the few questions you got wrong, perfect. Got the 80s, you want to know the few questions you got wrong, fine. But under 78, you have to, because this class is, what's the word? What's the word? When it keeps going, it keeps piling on. It builds. This class every week builds on every week. Right? The HESI is on week 1, week 2, week 3. So it just keeps building. Does that make sense? So if you don't review exam 1 and know what you got wrong, that's going to come back to bite you in the HESI. So you got to take advantage of that. Okay? So I in no way intend to come across as a general people don't study. But when I do reviews with students and they really haven't prepared adequately. And the other thing too with the PN program is it's really hard to get students to attend the review sessions that we do for each exam. I know everybody's busy. I know you're taking 3 classes. I know you have a home life. I know you're working. I get all that. But there is it's factual that attending live reviews increases your grade. It's factual. So that's why I'm going to get you out the schedule this week of all the reviews for the whole term. If you can get to one, that's great, or 2 or 3, whatever. Go to any or all. If you can't, you'll have all 3 recordings. But I cannot stress enough. I see it semester after semester. Students who come to live reviews do better. I don't know if it's the in-person, the interactive, hearing all the questions. I go through the study guide, or we go through the study guide. it's just a fact. They do better. So if you can prioritize these reviews into your schedule in weeks 3, 6, and 9, it'd be fantastic. Okay. This class is passable. This class is manageable. Just got to put a little bit of effort into it and keep up. I think you'll enjoy it. I have students, lots of students say, God, I was dreading this class in week 1. And in week 10, they're like, hey, I learned a ton about how our community functions with the help of public health department and community nurses. So it's just broadening your knowledge of our profession. This class focuses on nursing in the community. Okay. That's all I got. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Please let me know again if you're a repeat, re-entry, or have accommodations. Don't forget you have your 2 peer responses, okay, for Sunday. Next week, do you have a NCLEX next week? I know you have a discussion question. Or is your first NCLEX in week 3? I think it is. So next week, yeah. So next week, the same thing. You should just have a discussion question. And then you're done with discussion questions. And we start with NCLEX and case studies. Okay. And then the clinical conflict students, stay on, please. But I hope you guys, it was really nice to meet everybody. I know we had 2 classes today, but hope everybody has a good weekend. And then reach out if you need anything. If you have any questions about this lecture, whatever, just.
Yes, can you say something about the quizzes?
Yeah. What?
The quizzes.
You said not to do the quizzes, correct? Wait till
Correct. We'll do them in class together.
Okay.
Okay, that will be one of our activities. We'll do them in class together.
All right.
I can't reset quizzes.
Okay.
I can reset NCLEX. I don't know why I can't reset quizzes, but I can't. I probably could if I tried to figure out how to, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question.
Mhm.
I submitted my
Got to resubmit it.
huh?
I already know what you're going to ask. Got to resubmit it. Hopefully you saved it. If you
Resubmit
switch-
what?
Oh, go ahead. Maybe I'm sorry. Go.
No, I submitted my discussion question.
Mhm.
It was like I didn't come home from the hospital until like 11:20 that day.
Mhm,
I was in the hospital all day long.
Mhm.
And I got home at like 11:20, and I don't know, it might have submitted like a couple minutes after 12 o'clock. So I don't know.
I don't worry about that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna die on a 12 a.m., 12:05 a.m. hill.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right. That's
Okay.
all I had.
I have to pick my battles. What about the quiz that is due in week 1 that you said we're doing in class? Janelle, it's not, we don't have a quiz till week 2. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Just go through your module. Go through the last few pages of the syllabus week by week by week. You'll see what's due. Okay? You guys are at the end of your program. You know how to do this. Let's go. Let's just get going. Let's get through this class and get you guys moving on. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Really nice to meet everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, Professor. So
Okay, who's